Who doesn't love a little bit of healthy competition? Who doesn't love a great success story? Sport can bring nations together, but sadly, some athletes are later proven to have cheated.
Lance Armstrong has no place in cycling,
undermining their own legacy. Being revealed to have cheated later is one thing, but the athletes in this video were literally caught cheating in the moment. These are 20 athletes caught cheating on live TV. Marion Jones. Marion Jones is a former world champion track and field athlete from the USA, and she's also a former professional basketball player. But sadly, what she's remembered best for is her involvement in a doping scandal. Marion Jones was an excellent athlete as a teenager, and she dominated in high school athletics, routinely winning both in track and field and basketball events from the age of 15. By 1997, she was taking part in her first major international competitions, and her future looked quite promising. During the run up to the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, Marion Jones stated that she intended to win the gold medal in each of the 5 events that she was competing in, and in the end, she won 3 gold medals in the Sydney Olympics and 2 bronze. But just hours after she won that first gold, the International Olympic Committee announced that Jones had failed 4 of her pre-Olympic drug tests and had tested positive for nandrolone, which is a banned anabolic steroid.
We disqualified Marion Jones from the 5 events she participated.
She was ultimately stripped of her medals from those Olympic Games, but it would not be until 2007 that she admitted she had indeed used those banned substances. The shadow of performance-enhancing drugs followed Marion Jones throughout her career. From her first accusation in the 90s in high school when she missed a random drug test, through to her professional career, there were numerous incidents of accusations. She vehemently denied all of them until October of 2007, when she came clean about her use of steroids and that she had lied when under oath. She was formally stripped of her wins, and then she did what all disgraced famous people do. She was interviewed by Oprah. Jones eventually was sentenced to 6 months in prison for using performance-enhancing drugs and her involvement in a check counterfeiting scheme. Now it's time for the sweet topic. In the rest of the video, I'll be talking about confirmed cases of athletes being caught cheating, but for the sweet topic, I thought I'd do something a bit different. I'm going to talk about an allegation, but one of the more notorious ones that are out there. This woman is Bianca Salming, and as you can see in the image on the right, she tinkered with her shoe mid-race. This would lead to immediate accusations of cheating or attempted cheating, with many assuming she'd done something to her shoe to make it easier to run. But as of the making of this video, it remains little more than an accusation. But what do you think? Is it cheating or not? As always, you can let me know using the hashtag #SweetTopic in the comments section down below. Number 19. Lance Armstrong. Lance Armstrong is a former professional cyclist known for winning the Tour de France 7 consecutive times from 1999 to 2005. However, he was stripped of his titles in 2012 due to doping allegations. Armstrong admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs and would be banned from professional cycling for life. The thing is, though, nothing is ever truly black and white, and the story of Lance Armstrong is one of the most layered and complex falls from grace that sports has ever seen. It is Shakespearean in its levels of drama. Armstrong was, yes, famous for his exceptional cycling performances in the Tour de France. He was, until stripped, the only cyclist to achieve such a feat. But the thing is, Armstrong is also famous for his battle with cancer, his overcoming the odds, and surviving when his chances were incredibly small, and then going on to establish Livestrong, a charity that has helped millions of people across the world with cancer battles and spreading a message of health and wellness. His contributions to the world reach far beyond his sporting achievements and subsequent downfall, and it seems that one does not somehow cancel out the other, but from a place of self-righteous judgment, America, and most of the rest of the world, have shunned Armstrong since he admitted to his systematic doping during his cycling career. Now, Armstrong is definitely a controversial figure. He's arrogant, he can seem rude, but he is determined. The same stuff that helped him to win all those bike races, the most grueling and intense 3 weeks of racing up mountains across over 2,000 miles or more, by the way, is also what gave him the fight to beat a disease that almost killed him. He may have cheated, and that is certainly not cool at all, but Armstrong is so much more than the yellow jersey, and he was made an example of. During his era, doping was the culture in pro cycling. It sucks, but it is true. Armstrong was one of many or most pro cyclists during that time who were involved in dubious dabblings, but he was the one on whom most of the worst punishments were placed. He was banned from cycling, stripped of all of his wins, and was summarily dropped from every group that had ever sponsored or had any kind of involvement with him at any time.
Lance Armstrong has no place in cycling.
But true to form, he has been coming back. He now hosts a wildly successful podcast in which he shares his expertise on the professional peloton and discusses the Tour de France at length. And despite all of his faults, the guy really does know cycling. Liar and legend, he is both. Number 18. Diego Maradona. Diego Maradona was an Argentine soccer player who became one of the greatest players in history and led Argentina to victory in the 1986 FIFA World Cup, where he scored the famous Hand of God goal and the goal of the century against England. These moments became iconic in sporting history. Maradona's career was also pretty controversial. He had struggles with substance abuse and conflicts with all kinds of authority figures, but even so, he remains one of the most beloved figures in Argentina and actually in football worldwide. The Hand of God goal occurred on June the 22nd of 1986 in Mexico City's Estadio Azteca, where Maradona leapt to challenge England goalkeeper Peter Shilton for a high ball into the penalty area. Using his left hand, Maradona punched the ball into the net, effectively scoring a goal. Despite protests from English players and clear evidence of his handball, the referee allowed the goal to stand. After the match, he famously described the goal as the Hand of God, making the suggestion that it was divinely inspired. The term has since become synonymous with the incident and is frequently used to describe instances of cheating or controversial decisions in sports. Maradona's Hand of God goal helped Argentina to secure a 2-1 victory over England in the match, and he followed it up with another incredible moment when he scored another goal later in the match. This is often referred to as the goal of the century, where Argentina ultimately won the 1986 World Cup. Number 17. Rosie Ruiz. Rosie Ruiz became notorious for her victory in the 1980 Boston Marathon, only to have her title stripped due to cheating. She had crossed the finish line with an impressive time of 2 hours and 31 minutes 56 seconds. However, suspicions arose when fellow runners and spectators couldn't really recall ever seeing her along the course, and her finishing time was unusually fast for an amateur runner. The plot does thicken.
Rosie, you even doubt now that whether you ran the race.
A bunch of investigations would ensue, and apparently it began to show inconsistencies in Ruiz's account, and there was a distinct lack of evidence that supported her participation in the race. Things were pretty fishy, and then a witness came forward claiming that they saw her enter the course only about a mile from the finish line, suggesting that she had not completed the full marathon distance. Additionally, race officials could not find her recorded at various checkpoints along the route. Further scrutiny would uncover Ruiz's history of dubious race performances, including her disqualification from the New York City Marathon the previous year due to similar suspicions of cheating. In the end, the race officials stripped her of her victory and awarded the title to someone else. Number 16. Tonya Harding. American figure skater Tonya Harding gained notoriety in 1994 after her involvement in an attack on her rival Nancy Kerrigan. Harding's ex-husband, Jeff Gillooly, and her bodyguard, Sean, orchestrated the attack with the aim of injuring Kerrigan before the United States Figure Skating Championships. Kerrigan was struck on the knee with a police baton during a practice session. Initially, Harding had denied any involvement in the attack, but later admitted to knowing about it after it occurred. Naturally, the incident attracted a media frenzy and led to intense scrutiny of Harding's career and personal life. She faced legal repercussions, which included probation, community service, and a fine, and her involvement in the attack on Nancy Kerrigan would result in her being banned for life from the United States Figure Skating Association. This effectively ended her competitive skating career and totally destroyed her reputation in the sport. Number 15. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson is a Canadian sprinter who gained global attention for his efforts, winning the gold medal at the 100-meter sprint at the '88 Summer Olympics in Seoul, where he set a world record with a time of 9.79 seconds. However, Johnson's victory ended up turning into a proper scandal when he tested positive for anabolic steroids in a post-race drug test. This revelation shocked the world, and everyone clutched their pearls in horror. This led to Johnson being stripped of his gold medal and world record, and he was also banned from competitive racing for 2 years. The incident did major damage to his reputation while raising questions about the use of performance-enhancing drugs in sports. I mean, well, duh. It also sparked debates about doping regulations and the ethics of fair competition. Despite the setback, Johnson returned to racing after his suspension, but he never regained his previous level of success. He continued to face scrutiny and criticism all throughout his career, but it does beg the question, Why do athletes cheat? And why do we hold them to the standards that we do? It is a morality question, but in the intense world of professional sport, where the line between cheating and maximizing a professional advantage can be very blurry indeed, how can we even moralize? Number 14. Barry Bonds. Barry Bonds is a former professional baseball player who played in Major League Baseball for 22 seasons. He was on the Pittsburgh Pirates and the San Francisco Giants, and he's often seen as one of the greatest players of all time. However, his career is also overshadowed by controversy, like so many other athletes that we've seen. Bonds began his career with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1986 and became a star player, actually winning 2 National League Most Valuable Player awards during his time. In 1993, he signed with the San Francisco Giants and had massive success there as well. But, and there is always a but, Bonds' career became mired in controversy when he would be linked to the Balco scandal. This was when a Bay Area laboratory was discovered to have been distributing performance-enhancing drugs to athletes. And even though Bonds denied ever knowingly taking steroids, he was indicted on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice in 2007 for allegedly lying to a grand jury about his PED use. He was ultimately convicted of obstruction of justice in 2011. However, even though all of that stuff happened, Barry Bonds is still seen as one of the greats. He had a fabulous career, broke all kinds of records, but unfortunately, if you're associated with cheating, it doesn't really matter what else you do. You'll likely always be viewed with a certain level of suspicion. Number 13. Justin Gatlin. Justin Gatlin is an American track and field athlete who is mainly known for his efforts in sprinting events, mainly in the 100 and 200 meters. But guess what? Despite all of his success in his discipline, he's also been the subject of rather a lot of controversy in his time. Gatlin first arrived on the international scene in the early 2000s, and he won the gold medal in the 100 meters at the 2004 Athens Olympics, where he also managed to get a silver in the 200 meters. After this, he carried on dominating in sprinting events and even set world records, where he won several world championship titles. And here comes the but. Gatlin's career was also marred by doping scandals, and in 2006 he tested positive for testosterone, and for that crime, he received a 4-year ban from competition. He did make a comeback in 2010, returning to top-level competition and winning medals at the World Championships and the Olympic Games. But it's really tricky to come back after something of that sort, and he's been criticized and treated with skepticism ever since. Number 12. Tom Brady. Tom Brady's an American football quarterback and basically one of the greatest players in all of NFL history. Brady would be selected by the New England Patriots in the 6th round of the draft in 2000 and almost immediately began to show just how good that he was. He ultimately took the team to numerous Super Bowl victories, receiving a whole bunch of MVP awards in the process. But even though he's had so much success, Brady has faced controversies all throughout his career. The so-called Deflategate scandal took a bit of the sheen off of Tom Brady. The NFL had accused him of being involved in a scheme to deflate footballs below regulation levels in the 2015 AFC Championship game against the Indianapolis Colts. After an investigation, Brady was suspended for 4 games, although that suspension was later overturned in court. Another controversy emerged in 2015 with the Spygate scandal. I mean, seriously, everything ever is called whatever gate, and it's super lame. But anyways, this was a thing in which the Patriots were accused of illegally videotaping the signals of opposing teams. While Brady himself was not directly implicated, the scandal had tarnished the team's reputation and raised questions about their integrity. Number 11. Alex Rodriguez. Alex Rodriguez is also known as A-Rod, and he's a former professional baseball player who had spent most of his career with the Seattle Mariners, Texas Rangers, and New York Yankees in Major League Baseball. He was very famous and seen as one of the top players in the country, but his career was not without some naughty bits as well. In 2009, he admitted to using banned substances earlier in his career while playing for the Texas Rangers from 2001 to 2003. This admission came amidst pressures to live up to his record-breaking contract. It's usually about money in the end, you know. And then in 2013, Rodriguez was suspended for the entirety of the 2014 MLB season due to his involvement in the biogenesis scandal, whereby he had obtained performance-enhancing drugs from a now-defunct anti-aging clinic. Naturally, when you're a rock star of balls, people get pretty interested in your private stuff. His relationships with celebrities like Madonna and Cameron Diaz were heavily scrutinized, as were his alleged connections to illegal gambling circles due to his involvement in poker. Rodriguez's enormous contracts and occasionally underperforming seasons have made people ask a whole lot of tricky questions about his value to the teams that he played for, especially when it came to the New York Yankees. Was he actually worth all that money? Well, he certainly filled a lot of tabloids, so it depends on how you look at it really now, doesn't it?